I'll help.
Hi, PC community. We're really excited to host this Instagram and Facebook Live with you today, especially on Rare Disease Day 2024. So, yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into it. We can we'll see all the different people that trickle in. But yeah, we'll just go ahead and get started. So, the purpose of this live today is just to outline why we support Rare Disease Day and Rare Disease Month, why it's important, and how you can support our patients who have a rare disease. So we'll be answering a few questions. Well, actually, I won't be, but Janice will be. I'll introduce her in a second. She'll be answering some questions. So feel free to go ahead and answer any questions that you have in the comment section, and we'll be answering those a little bit later. But yeah, before we get into those questions, I want to introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Kara. I am the social media manager for PC Project. I have been for about 2.5 years. It's been a great experience for me. I don't have PC myself, but I've been able to learn a lot about PC and PC Project and all the different patients from working with PC Project. So it's been a blessing in my life. I love hearing all of your stories as well and how PC affects your lives and just your courage and hope for a better future inspires me every day. So thank you all for that. So now we can dive a little bit into why we support Rare Disease Day. So, Rare Disease Day was first observed in Europe in 2008 and then in the United States in 2009. So, it's relatively recent. So, PC Project supports Rare Disease Day to raise awareness for different rare diseases, specifically PC, and how they impact patients' lives. We help numerous patients every year receive a diagnosis of a rare disease. Sometimes that diagnosis is not even PC. Um, yeah, so they do have features that are similar to PC, and we always try to give them all a correct diagnosis and introduce them into the patient community so they have a resource for their rare disease. There are many ways that you yourself can support a Rare Disease Day as well. So I'll just give you a few of those ways that you can support. You can make a post on social media account that outlines what Rare Disease Day means for you and your loved ones. You can share one of our posts and personalize it for your friends and family. You can reach out to a friend that has a rare disease and just let them know that you're thinking about them. And then finally, you can start a fundraiser for PC, and you yourself can make a donation to PC Project by just going to our website at pachyonychia.org, and then click the little donate button on the top right hand corner, or just clicking on the link in any of our bios on our social media accounts. So those are just a few ways that you can support Rare Disease Day and PC Project. So yeah, now it is my pleasure to introduce to you all Janice Schwartz. She's PC Project's Executive Director, and she'll tell us a little bit about her story with PC, and she'll answer some questions for us as well. So yeah, now the time is yours, Janice.
Well, thank you, Kara, and happy rare disease to everybody. I am actually not in the PC Project office right now. I'm just in a room in my own home. I hope that's okay. We have a little tiny PC Project office, but we spend a lot of time working remotely. So I am really happy to be here with all of you guys on this special day. You know, what's interesting, I spent a lot of my life telling untrue stories about why my skin hurt, about why my nails look different, and you can see I've got thick nails so people could always see those. And I actually used crutches starting in third grade when I was about 8 years old. And so in high school and in college, I would always tell people I had a knee operation or maybe I had a ski accident. I always made up, especially with my friends, a lot of wild stories about why I had crutches or else why I limped. And I don't know why I was so embarrassed about the fact that I have a rare disease, but I was. And I'm glad I'm past that point in my life because I've decided that I do not have to be ashamed of the fact that my skin is different, or that sometimes I need crutches, or that my nails are thick, or maybe even I need a wheelchair sometimes. Besides, if I don't let the world know about what I have, if I don't tell people about my PC, who will? How will researchers and drug developers know that we have a disease that needs to be cured? So here I am with you today on Rare Disease to spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Janice, for that. It is so true. People will not know about PC if we don't tell them. So it's very important to just raise your voice and to let people know about PC. I know that sometimes it can be a little bit embarrassing, or you might have some just reservation sharing a rare disease with somebody, but it definitely does help to get the word out and to just create that awareness. So thank you for that. So moving on to some of the questions that we have. So Janice, you have PC. When were you first diagnosed with PC, and what were your symptoms starting out?
Okay. Well, thanks, Kara. I am a spontaneous case of PC, which means neither of my parents had it. And so when I was born with it, the first thing to show up were my thick nails. I know not all PCers have thick nails right at birth, but in my case, and actually some PCers don't have hardly any thick nails at all. But in my case, all 20 of my nails were thickened pretty much right after I was born. And the other thing that I had was the white tongue. And as some PCers had, I also had the ear pain. So whether it was the white tongue or the ear pain, I had a hard time eating when I was first born. And so that was, or I guess I should say, as a baby. So those were some of my first symptoms. And my parents had no clue what was going on with me. They took me around to a lot of doctors. And I'm in Utah. I was born in Utah, but they took me to doctors all around. They took me to some specialists, even in California. But I was really lucky because it was actually a dermatologist back here in Utah that recognized what or thought what I might have, and it was Pachyonychia. And back then, the gene hadn't even been discovered, and but I was one of the very few people, and I say very few people because so many people in our community have lived for years without a diagnosis. So I was really lucky, blessed to get a correct diagnosis at a young age.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like I hear that story a lot, actually, of parents who have young kids, and they start seeing these symptoms in their kids, and they don't know what it is, so they're trying to find some answers to just yeah, kind of alleviate that stress that they have. And so that's something I love about PC Project is we have the patient registry, and you can go on our website to find out more information as well on how to get genetic testing if you don't necessarily know what type of rare disease you have. So yeah, that's great. And the next question I have for you, Janice, is what was the biggest challenge for you just having PC?
Yeah. Well, the biggest challenge for me and probably most people with PC is simply pain. So I talk about the nails, the tongue. Oh, and I did have the little bumps at a lot of the follicular hyperkeratosis, the bumps on the elbows and the knees and things like that. But for me, it's always been about the pain. When I first started walking as a baby, the blisters and calluses started growing immediately on my feet. I went from crawling to walking, and then I kind of started crawling again because my feet got so sore so fast. In fact, we have a funny story in my family because I have two older siblings. And when they first started walking, my mom always got them these really specialized walking shoes. And when I started walking, she got them for me too. And of course, I started getting these blisters and calluses, and my mom took the shoes back to the store and she said, "Oh, your quality has gone down. These shoes are really hurting my daughter's feet." And we just still laugh about that today because it wasn't anybody's fault. It wasn't the shoes' fault. It was just what happens with PC because I became more weight bearing. I was now 20 pounds and walking on those feet, and the cells are fragile, and it started the blistering, and then of course the permanent callousing was going to be inevitable. It's just part of PC. And so my whole life dealing with that pain has been the number one challenge.
Yes, and I know that's the case with so many patients as well. Just the pain is sometimes unbearable.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, you know what? I should just make a clarification. Some of our patients, including K6As like me, but especially K17 patients, do get cysts. And sometimes these cysts get really inflamed, and those sometimes can be more painful than even the calluses. So I always have to do a great shout out to our patients that, we spend so much time talking about the painful calluses and the blisters, and that is the number one feature of PC across all types, all five types of PC. But I also don't want to downplay the fact that there are patients that really suffer from these inflamed cysts. And again, they're mostly K17s. K6Bs get them, K6As get them, but mostly K17. So another fun part, but it's all pain, it's all back
Mhm.
to the whole pain deal. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Definitely. Okay, and then moving on to the next question, you have 2 children with PC. Have your children ever been or have ever had any issues with living, with a rare disease like PC?
Yeah, I could actually talk about this for 10 hours about being a mom and having kids with PC. And I should say, it's such a personal decision to have children with PC. We see that all the time in our community. And when I had kids with PC, yeah, I mean, when I started, my husband and I wanted to start a family, we knew there was a chance. We didn't know much about PC. Like I said, the gene hadn't even been discovered at that time. Tells you I'm old. Well, not that old. It's all a lot of it's new, but we're finding new mutations in the PC genes all the time, actually. So the progress is coming, and but we decided to start a family, and maybe it's too because I feel like even with PC, I have a good life, really try to focus on the good in my life. And so, anyway, back to your original question. Sorry, Kara, I'm deviated there.
Yeah, good.
I have two sons with PC, and when they were little, the biggest problem for them, one of them had sucking problems like I did. Again, whether it was from the ear pain, both of them have that ear pain that some of our PCers get. But the
Mhm.
biggest problem when they were kids were the nail infections, and we had to deal with those. And those can be very painful. And then, of course, when they started walking, the calluses started growing, and I admit it's hard for me to see my kids hurt from PC. And sometimes I would just say, I'm sorry I gave this to you. And they would roll their eyeballs and say, oh, mom, because they're happy to be alive too. But it was hard sometimes. But I did try to empower them. And I would, especially when they were little, I would always go into the schools at the beginning of preschool or, regular school and talk to the teachers, tell them about PC. But I also tried to help my kids. We would role play, like, what do you say if somebody says, ooh, what happened to your nails? And then we would role play and say, this is a simple way you can answer, so it's no big deal. And probably one of the more traumatic times in my life as a mom with kids with PC is I got a report that there were some kids at the school bus. Well, my kids got on the school bus at one stop, and then there were some other kids at another um, another place that were picking on my kids. In fact, on the bus, they were spitting on my kids. And I got that report back that that's what was happening. Now, I have to tell you, that made the mama bear in me just go wild. Mama bear meaning I was so mad. I just wanted to go and pound somebody. But on the outside, and the way I reacted to my own kids about this, I tried to stay cool about it. And instead of getting all mad about it, my husband and I went to that other bus stop the next morning. And all friendly like, we basically conducted a public relations campaign at that bus stop for our kids. So we explained to the other kids about our PC nails, and the nice thing is there were kids at that there were parents at that other bus stop that there were waiting in, and they were listening in. And I think it really helped. And so to have other parents there. So instead of us getting all mad at these kids, like, you guys are such bullies, instead we advocated for our kids in a cool way, in a friendly way, instead of making it uncomfortable and weird. But as a parent, I have to say it did break my heart. But we always have focused on what we can do and what we can't instead of what we can't. And I just have to say, both of my boys are in their 20s today. They're very successful. They've graduated from college. They're doing great. And so I just want, if there's any parents out there that are listening who have young kids with PC, I just want you to know that yes, it's difficult, and yes, we are working as hard as we can to pay for research and to do all we can for a cure. But I want to reassure you that you can have a happy life with PC. I mean, do I look that sad? I mean, I don't want to say we don't have hard days, because we do, but we can have happy days with PC.
Yes, I always love getting updates, on your kids, Janice. I love seeing all that they accomplish and everything, so, there definitely is hope for the future there. And then I want to kind of switch gears and read some of the questions that we received from just some of our viewers. So the first question is, how do you deal with the rare disease? It's kind of a general question, but you can answer it however you want.
Yeah, boy, that's a big wide question. And probably the biggest answer, if you want specific help on how to to deal with PC, I would send you to our website. Our website is pretty amazing. It has a section on managing your PC. It's got tools and tips. We have online patient support meetings. We're going to have a meeting next month, actually, where everybody can get on and be together on a Zoom meeting. We have in-person patient support meetings on Facebook. We have it's like a private chat where we can get on and talk about our PC, and people ask questions there. So I think that's probably a wide answer, but I would say just use all the resources that PC Project has to offer. Look at our newsletters. I mean, we don't give fancy newsletters, but we hope relatable newsletters that will help you feel connected to this really powerful community and know that there are people that care very much about you and we're working hard on your behalf.
Yeah, there are some great resources on the website. The team has put in so much work and effort to make sure that our community can have some research or can have some resources there. So perfect. The next question that I have is, so because not all PCers use crutches or wheelchairs, is it sometimes hard for people to understand the pain that they do go through?
Yeah, I wish we were on a group call with everybody, with other PCers right now to get their experiences. And hopefully we can get that at our patient support meetings and things like that. But I do think the fact that we hide our PC makes it really hard. We don't want to be different. And sometimes because of that, we get left behind or we get left out because our friends and maybe even sometimes our family members don't realize how hard it is to walk. And yeah, I think the average person does not know how bad it hurts for PC. They just don't know that it's as painful as it is. And of course, on the other side, here we are, we want to be seen as normal. And yet sometimes we need to have special accommodations. And I just got to tell you a little story here that just reminded me of is I remember when one of my sons was in college, he had one of those handicap placards that you can put in your car. You hang on your car
Mhm.
and it lets you park in a handicap park. And he hardly ever used it because he was too proud. But one day at the end of a long day, he needed groceries and the parking lot was full. But there was an opening for a handicap park. So he was like, I'm going to be able to, if I'm going to be able to, have enough steps to get my groceries, I need to park here. And so he did. And when he got back from getting his groceries, somebody had left a really nasty note on his car and on his windshield of his car about parking in the handicap park. And that really kind of was hard on him to read that and to see that. And if you look at him, he works out, he's in really good shape. And so he probably looked like a really healthy young man, but it bothered him and so I guess the point of this story is here we are on Rare Disease Day. And I think it's really important that we recognize that not all rare diseases are apparent. We don't always know that the pain is that somebody is experiencing. We just have no idea. Oh yeah, and I'm seeing Laura, you popped up saying this has happened to me several times. They can be so mean. I know. And I'm just going to tell you, Laura, what's so funny is sometimes I will use crutches and so people will not think about it. But sometimes I'm not on my crutches. And if I'm parking in a close park, I this is so stupid. I will like limp even more than I need to because I'm so afraid of being judged. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm like, I don't want people to think that I don't need it. And it's true, Lori. I sorry, I'm not watching the chat very well, but I just saw you pop that up. It's true. So
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sure so many people have similar experiences to that. Just feeling
right.
like, I guess, just not wanting to make it super apparent or just kind of protecting yourself there. So.
Right. Oh, Suzanne. Yep, we do it too. Oh, I have to tell you, this is a funny another little story. When I was in college, I worked at a copy center and it was just a small copy center in campus, but I had a chair, like a moving chair that I could, well, okay, let me go back. There was like a door in the wall and it had an open door, so people would pass me their things that they needed copied through the window, and I would take it out of the window, but I had this office chair with wheels, and then I would wheel myself to the copy center, or to the copy machine, do the copy, and then wheel myself back to the window and get their money and give them their copy. And I had some pretty snarky comments, during at that time, like, "Gee, you can't even stand up." But in my case, I did have crutches, and I always had them in a corner. And I remember a few times I got a little snarky back, and I would say, "Well, if you cure me, I will stand up and make your copy." And then they would go, "Ah." So anyway, yeah, it's hard to have to explain yourself to a stranger. That is so true. And yet,
Mhm.
you know what? Maybe it's okay. I know that so many times we've gone, "Oh, how do I explain that?" But maybe I'm just getting old and grouchy, you guys, but I'm like, "I don't care anymore. I wanna tell you now, and if you want to help me really, donate to PC Project." You know what I mean? I'm just like, "Don't give me sympathy, give me donations." So I'm getting
We should
weird, I'm getting grouchy. Anyway,
we
go
should
ahead.
put that we should put that on a T-shirt.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes, okay. Can I just
Okay.
see this next question? But
Awesome. Yeah, actually, I was about to go ahead and read your comment there. Yeah, so another comment that we got from a patient was, "Is it just me, or do all of us PCers wish to have a proper foot massage without pain?"
okay, everybody, if you're listening, answer that question. I wanna know, and the answer is yes. Oh my goodness. I have to tell you one thing. I know some of you go to, like, podiatrists to get your feet trimmed. I don't let anybody touch my feet except for my husband, and he is really good. He will give me a massage around my calluses, and he's pretty good. But no offense to Dave, that's my husband. One time we had a patient support meeting, actually it was right here in Salt Lake, and there was a patient that came, and he was married to a woman who was a professional massage therapist, and she went around for anybody that want and gave them foot massages. And because she was married to somebody with PC, I guess he had sufficiently trained her, but she had the techniques, and I was so nervous to have her touch my feet. And she's like, "Oh, come on." And I'm like, "Ah." And I did it. And oh my goodness, I think about that foot massage to this day because, again, no offense to my husband, but this lady was trained. And yet, because she was married to someone with PC, oh, yeah, it's been so long, and I can still think about that massage. It was so good. So maybe we better invite her back to the next patient support meeting and say, we all need foot massages."
Yes, I
So,
think it's a great idea.
it's a great question, and I know who you are that asked that question. I love it. And
Mhm.
it's true, there's just stuff that I think it's so hard with PC because we don't want people to touch our feet. It's just, but boy, it would feel so good, especially when our feet are achy. Do your feet get achy? And you just want to, oh, see, I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm like, okay. So you're gonna have to train somebody really good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Awesome. Well, we have time for a few more questions, so I'll just keep going with the questions.
okay.
Um, so the next question that we have is, a lot of parents ask us, but this is a pretty common question from parents. What can a parent do to prevent these painful calluses from growing on a PC child's feet?
Ugh, I hate this answer, but unfortunately, the answer is there is nothing to be done to prevent this. There is no special shoe, no special sock, or anything that will stop these PC symptoms from growing because I think I talked about earlier, the mutation causes our cells to be fragile. And so whenever we put unless we just say to your kid, never walk ever again, that's not realistic. The skin fragility or the cell fragility is going to it's going to cause that trauma. The trauma is going to result in the blistering and then the permanent calluses. And once they happen, they're going to just be there forever. And I'm so sorry to say that's just part of PC. And so I hate that that's the answer. And don't get me wrong, we all still choose the very best socks and shoes and accommodations that we can, right? I mean, we all are trying our hardest to manage, but PC is going to come. It just, if you've got that mutation in your cell, or rather in your gene, I mean, it's going to happen. And just, from my point of view, I just have a lot of gratitude for my parents. I mean, they had no clue what PC was, but they always helped me focus on what I could do, even with PC. And I had chores. For example, I'm in a family with 6 kids, and I was in the dishwashing rotation just like everybody else. But instead of standing to wash the dishes, I had to pull up a chair, or I had to, have a stool or something like that. And I appreciate it because there's honor in work. There's pride in a job well done. And so I appreciated that my parents always kind of had the balance between giving me realistic chores and still expecting me to do well in school, still expecting me to fulfill my responsibilities, but also being there to just say, hey, I'm sorry you're hurting and I still love you. And that made a big difference for me growing up. And, I, with PC, I, I'm trying to think how to distinguish this. As a teenager and a young child, I guess I didn't have a lot of confidence because of my PC. In fact, shouldn't confess this on live Instagram or Facebook, but I failed a Spanish class in high school because the teacher would call on you at random, and I was so shy. I know you guys probably don't believe that, but I was so afraid to talk that I skipped that class because I was so afraid of being called on in class. And I just did not have a lot of confidence. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And I know a lot of that had to do with my PC. But because of my parents, I always had a lot of self-esteem. And I don't know if that makes sense, the difference. I was still unsure of myself as a child, but I always felt confident in who I was as an individual. I knew I was loved. I knew I had value. I knew I was okay. And I just think I just really appreciate my parents. And I just have to, I don't know. Y'all bored? Is this boring? I'm just sitting here talking about myself. I just want to tell you too, some of you have heard me say this. I had an older brother, 1 year older than me. And at the end of school, we would get off the school bus. We were in middle school or junior high, whatever you call it. And I could barely walk at that point after going from class to class. And he would piggyback me home from the bus stop. And I always appreciated that because I was so embarrassed about my PC, but he was not. And I think that's a really important thing for us in our community. Sorry if you can hear my dogs barking in the background, but hey, we're real, right?
They want to
And
contribute.
okay, they just want to tell about PC
Yeah.
too. They want me to take them for a walk, and it's not going to happen. But anyway, it's just a thing we think about on Rare Disease Day. We are so sometimes embarrassed about having a disease, but if we explain it to others, and just like my brother, he was like a cool guy. He was on the basketball team. He wasn't embarrassed about having a sister with PC, and neither are my friends, and neither are people that really care about me. And so I think it's okay to spread the word. And even though we're so used to hiding it, we find that when we do tell people about it, it's okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, I love the support that just comes from, the PC community, and it's hard to open up, but, when you do open up to others, they're usually very, supportive, so love all the stories that you've been sharing. So we have time for, yeah, one last question, and, this question I am actually very curious to hear the answer as well. So we all know that Janice is a very busy woman. So this question is, how does PC affect your life right now? Janice, you travel a lot for PC Project, and what does that look like to you?
Wow, that's a big question, Kara. Well, as I said before, pain affects everything I do. And actually, some people think it's really neat that I travel for PC Project, but in truth, it's a very difficult thing to do. And I do it, but I have to think about it. And even as a family, we go on family vacations. It's like, okay, what are we going to do as a family that won't kill 3 feet, 3 people and their bad feet? So I'll just give you an example too. I have been invited to go and sit around the table in France in April, and I'm going to because there's all of these researchers and the timing works out too. That's also a big consideration. And I'm getting my way paid, not by PC Project, but by a sponsoring company. But already I'm like, okay, do I take my wheelchair? Do I need to take razor blades? I know in Europe there's a lot of cobblestone streets. How bad is it going to be? And how much am I going to have to walk? I mean, there's just all of these things that I think a lot of you probably can relate to when you travel or do anything new. It's a little bit vulnerable. And there's even talk with these scientists about, even though we're mostly going to just be in a hotel conference room day and night, working, there's talk of one night going out for dinner. And already I'm nervous about that because, and I don't know if everybody will understand this, but we just think, I don't want to be the burden of the group. And they all know I have PC in this group. And yet I'm still afraid of being the burden, or will someone push me if I take a wheelchair? I mean, it's just, it's everything. And I don't know if any of you are listening ever feel that way. You don't want to be a burden, and yet you want to know if you can keep up. So I just think it's really important that we talk to each other. And maybe I'm just going to have to say, so I don't know. I think maybe the main message, because it is Rare Disease Day, I have been kind of talking about some of the difficulties of living with a rare disease, and it's a lot about been me this time. But I just want you to know that you, like I said, you can have a happy life with PC. And I hope everybody here feels that. I try to look for the good in everyday life. I like to look for a pretty sunset or a bird that flies by or somebody that gives me a smile. I mean, I don't want to pretend and say it's always happy. I sometimes get really discouraged with having PC. Yeah, it's a real fear to be a burden to others, and it does get depressing. I don't want to make it sound like it's all roses. It's hard. It's discouraging sometimes, and but at the same time, we have so much good in our lives too.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for Janice for answering all of those questions. I know that I learned a lot that I didn't know previously. So thank you so much for taking the time to answer all those questions that I have for you, especially on Rare Disease Day. So that's great. Before we wrap it up, I do want to make a special announcement. So on Saturday, March 23rd, we will host a live town hall via Zoom. So we'll have 4 PC experts. It's a very exciting opportunity. All of those will be including PC dermatologists who have met hundreds of people with PC and reviewed their cases, and scientists who are actually doing real PC research right now. So very exciting opportunity to ask them some questions. They'll be with us live to answer any and all questions that you have about PC. So yeah, feel free to be on the lookout for more information on that. This is a free event, so you can find more information on the website on
And
how to register. Oh yeah.
oh no, I'm like, I guess you're doing it. I was gonna say it's already up on the website right now. The link is on there. So you know how all of you who are watching right now, you can see Kara, you can see me. This is not, this activity next month on a Saturday is not going to be a webinar. It will be where all of us can turn on our cameras and talk live. So it will be a virtual fun meeting that hopefully you can ask all of your questions. Like today, we've talked about mostly, we haven't talked about technical things. So if you've got real scientific or medical questions, save them and sign up and come. And we're going to talk. It's going to be so fun just next month.
Yeah, it's a very exciting opportunity to have some PC experts with us. So
Yeah.
that's great. And yeah, thank you all for joining on this Rare Disease Day. Just a reminder of how you can show your support on Rare Disease Day today or throughout the month, Rare Disease Month. You can make a post on social media. You can reach out to somebody who you know who has a rare disease, and just kind of recognize them. You can make a PC fundraiser, or you yourself can make a donation through our website or through the link in any of our social media bios.
Great.
So yeah, thank you all for joining us today, and hope you have a good one.
Yes. Oh, Kara, you're going to hate me.
Oh yeah,
I just have to say one more thing.
yeah, go for
Like,
it.
just try to close this meeting. I just wanted to say to all of you that are listening, thank you so much, because you are what makes our community really powerful. And when we talk on our town hall next month, we're going to tell you some of the updates. But I just want you guys to know, even though you might not even see it in newsletters or on our website, because I have signed confidentiality agreements, we have some things going on with companies, we have things going on with researchers, and I just want to let this group know that we are fighting for you every day. We care about you, we love you, and sometimes people think, who is PC Project? Like we're this huge organization. We're not. It's me. I'm a full-time volunteer. We got Holly, who's organizing this from the backside. We've got Kara, who helps us with our social media, and we've got a part-time bookkeeper who keeps our finances under control. It's just us. I'm just a stay-home mom. I'm not a career woman, and yet I work, I'm just going to tell you 70, 80 hours a week because I love you guys. And I want you to know that PC Project is here for you. We love you all. We know patients are in over 60 countries. They're of all nationalities, races. It affects people equally. And because of that, we love you all, and we don't care who you are or where you come from. You're part of our community, and we love you, and we're working for you. So we so appreciate that you are here with us and that you support us. But just know we feel the love, and we give it right back to you too.
Love that. Well, thank you all for joining, and thank you to Janice of just sharing your story. So thank you. Everyone have a good one. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Happy Rare Disease Day. Bye-bye.